In this video, we are going to talk about two things. First, how to navigate between functions. Second, how can we build a large function with the top-down approach. So first, how do we navigate between functions? From previous video, we know that within this setup function, we defined a function called setup patches, and we do not know the content of it, so we need to jump into the place where this function is defined. That's an easy way to do it, to do the navigation, which is press Control button and click jump to declaration. In this way, we can quickly find where setup patches this function is defined. And looking into this function, we realize that this function is consists of three user-defined functions. These three functions. So right now, we can only see the function's name. So we have a basic idea what this function does, but we cannot see exactly how this function is defined. So again, in order to go to where this function is defined, we Control, click, and jump to declaration. And then we find this specific function and where it is defined. And within this function, we see the detailed code, how to execute. So this is one way to navigate between functions. Another way to navigate between functions is using this job list window. By clicking this, we can see all the functions within this model. So we can choose any of them, go to any of the functions right here. Okay, so these are two ways of navigate between different functions. And the second thing we're going to talk about is how to define a very large function. At the beginning, we know that this function is quite big, right? We see that this function consists another three functions. And now we can go to this function and we will see this function is defined right here. So why we build a function with more functions? The reason why we do this is because we tend to think on macro level. And it's easier for us to talk about things on macro level instead of micro level. Because to start everything from the tiny details, it can be very intimidating, and it's just not very efficiently for us to code them up. So it's easier for us to take from top-down level. We think on large goals, large purposes, and then divide that purpose into maybe three tasks, and then we one by one to define each small task. In this way, we can chop up a big project into smaller ones, a big function into smaller functions, and for each smaller functions, it can use a few lines of code to finish everything. So this way of working should be more efficient and more user-friendly.